We know currently in the country, our social safety net is not looking after people. We need to take radical action if we want to eradicate poverty. And we know there's a direct correlation between poverty and violence. I'm really pleased to be joined today with guests who will talk about how a guaranteed livable basic income will change lives, how the costs of not having a guaranteed income not only costs lives, but costs money. Poverty costs a lot of money.
We are spending now upwards of $80 billion a year keeping people in poverty. Part of what we're trying to do is encourage the federal government to work with provinces, territories, and Indigenous governance bodies to develop a framework that would actually bring people out of poverty and allow people to rebound when they end up in poverty. So this is not a new idea. This is an idea whose time has come. Canada has committed many times over to looking at this kind of approach, but we've done it in incremental steps. We have the Canada Child Benefit, we have the Guaranteed Income Supplement for seniors, we're talking about a disability benefit that of course hasn't yet achieved anything remotely resembling a livable income. When I was just in PEI last month and met with the Premier, PEI wants to start it, wants to demonstrate this. So in addition to our bills, and I'm very excited that Leah's bill will go to second reading in the House of Commons very soon. My bill is being studied in the Senate Finance Committee as we speak. And these are two initiatives that we're taking in both chambers to try and push across the finish line the need to really address poverty in this country.
Our Students Association delivered to MP Gazan's office a petition to endorse Bill C-233. We understand that GLBI will help students confidently face the social harms being brought upon them by poverty, by creating an avenue that will enable us to change the present instead of glorifying or perpetuating this unnecessary reality.
So good morning, my name is Yami. I am with the Ottawa Coalition to End Violence Against Women. We support Bill 223 in terms of a Canada-wide framework for implementation of a guaranteed livable basic income, because we know that gender-based violence is an epidemic. Here in Ontario, over 95 municipalities have declared it so. We have a crisis, and survivors of gender-based violence are bearing the brunt of that crisis. These are unprecedented times, and we believe that this would address systemic failures and barriers. We want to urge the government to support this bill that would have a profound impact. What would it do? It would support financial independence, free from economic abuse. Basic income provides survivors with a predictable source of income, allowing them to become financially independent from their abusers and those who cause harm. This financial stability can empower survivors to make decisions about their safety and well-being without being reliant on others. Food banks are at 90% capacity. We are in a crisis, and this is a solution. Supporting this bill would mean supporting calls to action for missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls and Two-Spirit folks. It would be supporting queer and trans communities. Supporting this bill would be a step towards gender-based violence prevention. Listen to Canadians and support the bill. Thank you.
What we're putting forward is a guaranteed livable basic income for all individuals over the age of 18, in addition to other supports meant to meet specific and special needs.
Would you want that to kind of replace that benefit and to do that in kind of a more meaningful way?
Our bill is very explicit in stating a guaranteed livable basic income in addition to other current and future supports meant to meet specific and special needs. We know that there's costs associated with disability, whether it's medication, whether it's the need to buy equipment to help with physical disabilities. So this would be in addition to other special supports required by the disability community to have a quality of life. We know currently in Canada, 70% of adults with severe intellectual disabilities live in poverty. This is abhorrent and it needs to change.
Sorry, please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and just to add to this, I mean, the bill lays out a framework. One of the things we're seeing with the disability benefit, with the Canada Child Benefit, with the Guaranteed Income Supplement, is this incrementalism. And we saw during the pandemic that the government did not have robust systems to meet the needs of Canadians. And so one of the things that could happen out of this framework legislation is bringing together all the parties to figure out how we can streamline the administration of some of these to free up more resources to actually pay out to Canadians, to the people who are currently below the poverty line. So there's great potential for it to streamline those portions and therefore free up resources for more services and supports and more income in the pockets of Canadians.
Why do you still have kind of confidence in kind of passing a legislation as a framework rather than including the details that you want to see in it?
Well, I think as Senator Pate indicated, this is not a new idea. In fact, in Manitoba, in the 80s, we had a Mincome study that did exactly that, provided a guaranteed livable basic income. You know, people talk about the high cost of programs. We've been pushing about to push back against that and talk about the high costs of poverty. I think it's a good financial a program for the government. It has cost savings for individuals, while at the same time ensuring that everybody residing in Canada can live in dignity. I know that during the Mincome study in the 80s, what they spent up front for a guaranteed livable basic income, they saved in healthcare costs, higher graduation rates, better mental health of the community, and people were able to pursue areas that they were never able to pursue. And the other, I think one of my respective colleagues, Yemi, spoke very eloquently about, you know, if this government is really serious about ending gender-based violence, if this government is really serious about in their promise to implement all the calls for justice of the National Inquiry, including Call to Justice 4.5, then they have already committed, in fact, to implementing a guaranteed livable basic income. Every single party in this House has been very clear and explicit that they support all the calls for justice. Call for Justice 4.5 calls on the government to put in place a guaranteed livable basic income for Indigenous peoples and all other Canadians. We're just pushing them to stay true to their promise and immediately implement a guaranteed livable basic income.